Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
Welcome everybody to Tiger Claw Radio. It's that time again. I'm your host, Critical Failure. It's 9/19. It's being recorded on Friday night. We're going to talk about some games. Oh yeah. June is almost over now. The Steam Summer Sale is in high gear. The world is just getting up and running outside. It's great. It's really a good time to be alive. So I don't have a complete mystery game with a bunch of tracks like I did last week, but I do have one. So let's start things off with a bit of a mystery track. Now, quick hint, this has been played on TCR before, although it's been a long time. Those of you who know me probably know this one. But if you don't, play along and see if you can guess where it's from. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. I'll see you in a minute. How well, boys and girls, how well do you know your PlayStation 1 era Capcom games? That's the Misadventures of Tronbonne, a game that we had no idea it was going to be valuable. I had no idea it was going to be valuable. Okay, so my older brother has a copy of this game. To this day, he has it. He has a little crate, one of those milk crates that you typically put vinyl records in. He's got one of those stacked up with all the PS1 games that we had back in the day. A lot of desirable games in there, but they were all bought when those games were new, so we didn't know what was going to be valuable and what wasn't. And Misadventures of Tronbonne, sure enough, it's in that box. Him and also my buddy Engie also had Tronbonne. So to me, growing up, I was like, this is one of the games that everybody has, right? It's Tronbonne. I didn't know it was going to be valuable. I thought it was like a game everybody had. So that track in particular sticks out in my mind because I remember a lot of years ago sitting at Engie's house. It was like the middle of the night, and he was playing that game, and it was one of those moments where we were both up really late, so we were getting kind of loopy. And that song would play in the middle of like a mini game when you're supposed to be feeding. You're working in like a cafeteria assembly line, and you're trying to feed the yellow serve bots food. So they come up to the counter and they ask you for a specific kind of food, and you got to press the corresponding button to get them their order. So you'll hear that song, and then over top of it will be curry rice, spaghetti. So the next couple of days after that night, when he was up playing that game, we were walking around town and with nothing to talk about, me and Engie just hanging out, and then we would just, joking with each other as we often did, being really silly. We did that off and on for years to come. That evening and these conversations were well over 15 years ago. Let's see. I was probably like 19 at the time, maybe. And I'm 36 now. A lot of years ago. Yeesh. That's Misadventures of Tronbonne. I wish I took the time to get a couple of extra songs and made that like a mystery game. It's funny, that memory of that mini game with that song playing is so vivid in my mind, but I've never actually once played it myself. My older brother had it. Engie had it. I just figured I'd get it someday. I didn't know it was going to be expensive. It just never happened to me. I'm trying to think back to exactly when that must have been. But I think this was at the time... I was either invested in going back to the Nintendo at the time, or I might have been playing computer games. I think I might have been already collecting big box PC games, and that was what I was into. Because that's what I remember the most about that era, is collecting Nintendo games when I lived at my mom's house. Of course, before there was, it was a thing to have a huge NES collection. And then at 17, when I moved out on my own, computer games and whatnot. So, yeah. So, Misadventures of Tronbonne. I've never played it, but it stands as a funny little memory from way back in those days. So that's my game of the week, if you will. Anybody else ever played that? It's expensive now, though, right? Let's see. Eric Kentroller said he got a big kick out of me doing the CF look stuff up on eBay. So let's give it a little look-see, okay? What does Tronbonne... Oh, excuse me. What does Tronbonne go for on eBay? PS1. Tronbonne. Stick with me here. Oh, of the very reasonable price of $299.93. $4 shipping. That's, to be fair, it's just the first one I'm looking up. We got it sealed. We have a sealed, graded copy. I've never seen that on a PlayStation 1 game. It's the kind of thing you would typically see with a magic card or a comic book, where they send it off to a company to get graded, and that company gives it a number between 1 and 10, and then seals it in a plastic plaque so that it can never be opened or played. Why even own the video game? Oh my gosh. Mecha Menace. Mecha Menace, I feel like, is the ambassador of good reason in this situation. Because he was really the guy who sat me down in a comment one day and was like, look, man, these collectors, they just have different values. It's okay. It ain't you. That's fine. So, Mecha Menace, I ask you, my good friend, would you ever send a game off to be graded and put it in a sealed case, never to be opened again? I guess it is a $200 game. This graded one is a sealed 9.4 A+ game, and they want $2,000 for it. Man, I don't know, bros. That's a lot for a game. Hey, but you never know. It's a collector's item. People are getting older. People are paying money for their memories. That the memory of hearing that silly little food minigame song. That's a big, vivid memory from back in those days. You know, you reach a certain age where those types of memories become very valuable. But what are you going to do? What's the most you guys have ever spent on a piece of video gaming equipment? Is that an off-color question to ask? I don't think so. And I wouldn't count a console either, because consoles can push a lot of money, right? Say maybe you bought a Neo Geo or something, or maybe you bought like a PlayStation 3 in the first year it came out when they were $600. What's the most you spent on a piece of video gaming equipment that is not a console or an arcade game? Something like a particular game that's pricey, or maybe a particular peripheral that's pricey, something like that. Now, I like those types of stories. I don't have many of them myself. I'm not above spending a bunch of money on a game, but as we've well established, I'm more of a player and not a collector. So if I'm spending money on something, it's because I'm super interested in playing it, and if it's an upper bracket game, I usually go for the lower quality copies so that I can get them on the cheap. The most I can remember spending on something that's either a game or a controller would be my arcade stick. My arcade stick was $200. And I guess, hey, I don't regret it. I don't know. I could see, yeah, that's $200. That's about the same as a copy of Misadventures of Tronbonne. And I gotta be honest, if you wanted to play, if Misadventures of Tronbonne was a game that you were gonna like play start to finish every year, you know, some people have that game that they play every year, maybe a book that they read every year, or a movie that they watch every so often. If Tronbonne is going to be that game, maybe it's worth $200. I don't know. I came pretty close to spending $100 on In the Hunt for PS1. Kind of regret not doing it, to be honest. How we doing? 10 minutes in, and I haven't even talked about the Steam sale yet. The big time Steam summer sale that's going on right now. You know what's funny? Every time one of these Steam summer sales happens, summer sale, winter sale, whatever kind of sale it is, there's always a large portion of people saying, hey man, this sale's the worst sale ever. These sales are getting worse and worse. What are we going to do? They used to have good deals. They don't have good deals anymore. Well, guess what, kiddies? Buckle your safety belts, because this is actually shock, awe. This is actually a pretty good sale. I'm seeing percentages going lower here than they have been before. I'm seeing actual good games going on sale. Let me get you, for instance. Hold on a second. Let me swing over to the old wish list, which is a terrible metric because a lot of the really good desirable games I've got already. But Halo Master Chief Collection is down to $31.99. For that game, that's pretty decent. I'm thinking personally about. I've been kicking around picking up Caesar 3. That's $3.89. We've got, what else have we got? We've got Wizardry Labyrinth of Lost Souls. Oh yeah, which I had for the PS3 and loved. $11.99. That's 20% off. Come on, they could be that. Let me sort this. These are all awful. Okay, let's get out of this. I want to get some. I'm really doing a bad job selling this sale, because every one of those I read, very terrible. So we're gonna do this. Slay the Spire. I've heard good things about that. I've been putting off getting it. Come on, where's I want to see the top sales. What are people actually spending money on? Give me a second. I think I might have went right past it and not realized it. Store, home. Wow, I am not seeing it. Players like you love. I don't want to know what players like me love. I want to know what I love. Top sellers. Yeah, here we go. Doom Eternal. That's what everyone's buying. Doom Eternal for $30, down from $60. I guess that is a pretty deep sale for a rather current AAA game. There's a game called Satisfactory that looks good to me. You basically just build a factory. It's sort of like an open world sort of Minecraft thing, but you're also doing supply chain management and a little creativity. It's from Coffee Stain Studios, which I came back into my attention recently when I replayed Sanctum. Sanctum is Coffee Stain Studios, and Satisfactory, the factory building game, is their latest work. It looks really good, I gotta say. Been somewhat impressed with their trailer. What else have we got? Anything good? Let's see. Rust. Persona 4 Golden. People said that's really sweet when that came out on Steam. Not on sale, but it stands in the middle of the top selling games, even at full price. So my hat is off to the Persona series. People must love that stuff. There's Terraria at $5. If you never played Terraria, there's never a better time to play it. Its latest update was really dope. Oh yeah, here we go. Doom from 2016. 2016 Doom. That's a great game. That's $6. Wow, $6 for the modern Doom reboot. Pretty sweet. All right, so you guys get the idea. Steam is being Steam. Games are on sale. Get your Steam rentals today if you feel like it. If not, if you want to do the smart thing and save your money, that's probably the way to go. The only game I'm really interested in for me personally is Gat Out of Hell, the Saints Row game, because I'm still on my Saints Row kick. Sat down with Saints Row 4, put a few hours into it. Saints Row 4 is a weird game, man. It's a weird game. You get like superpowers and stuff, and you're like running super fast. As soon as I unlocked the ability to run super fast in Saints Row 4 and jump super high, I never got in a car again. Give me a second. Just trying to ease my throat a little bit. All right, yeah, that's good. That's good podcasting. That's what we like. Yeah, so Saints Row 4 is funny in that I played Saints Row 3 a ton, okay? I was playing through it a third time when I finally just threw the brakes on. I was like, look, it's time to move on to Saints Row 4. I almost crossed the 100-hour mark. Not quite. I think I pulled the plug at like 91 hours or something. I have to go back and check, but anyway, you get the point. Played it a lot. Moved on to Saints Row 4, and it was super familiar, all right? It was really weird because you're like the president or something, but you play in the same city, so it's pretty familiar. Same city, same engine. I was like, okay, I can do this. Most people will criticize a game for being that similar, but being that similar to a game that I would consider a masterpiece, okay, great, I'm on board. Started playing it. Game took a hard turn, man. It took a real hard turn. You get superpowers, and now I'm running super fast through the streets, pushing cars out of the way, and it's some sort of weird superhero game now, and not at all a Grand Theft Auto clone like the last one was. So, still enjoying it. Okay. I knew the game was not rated as highly as Saints Row 3 was. I knew it. Knew that going in. But I'm still enjoying it for what it is. And then there's Gat Out of Hell for the 5th game, which I don't know if really where that game stands in terms of the series. I don't know if it's considered a spin-off game, or maybe it's one of those things like Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, where it's just kind of a standalone expansion that they made into its own game, or what. But yeah, still playing those Saints Row games, man. What are they going for now? Let's see. Let's see what they're charging for the old Saints Row games. I know Gat Out of Hell is like $350. Saints Row, baby. Saints Row the Third is freaking $250. Saints Row the Third is $2.50. Even Saints Row 2 is $250. That's a good game. Saints Row 2 is worth it, man. It is worth it. It's old. It's poorly optimized, but I played all the way through it this year, okay? I'd considered, when I played Saints Row 3 to death and I decided to move on to 4, if I didn't like 4, I was kind of considering going back and playing through 2 again. I'm loving these games, man. They're good. They're really good. Okay, so Saints Row 3 base game is $250 right now, but you really need all the DLC. So what does it cost to get like a fully set up version of the game? The full package, $3.74. Okay, I'm on board with that. Good game, bros. Good game, bros. Online functionality seems to be broken. At least the character gallery, all that nonsense is broken, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't need the character gallery. Stupid. Don't be stupid. All right, what are we doing here? 18 minutes in? Let's see what we got. All right. I think we're going to go back to a good old-fashioned chiptunes, and then next week we'll do some grab bag OST tracks again. But before we do that, I just want to mention that the old Tiger Claw Radio archive has been updated. If you're not aware, and I plan to make like a video about this, a video announcement, just to make it real easy so everybody who doesn't listen to every episode will get this information. But there is an entry in archive.org, a single entry where the Tiger Claw Radio archive exists. Okay, these are MP3s from all surviving episodes from the last 11 years, all the way back to the original pilot that I didn't air because it was terrible. I don't hide from my cringy past. There's some really awful episodes early on. I honestly wouldn't go back any further than like 179 or whatever, whenever I started making them on YouTube a couple of years back. But you could if you wanted to. And there were about 100 episodes missing from the archive, and I got them all up to date. So every single episode up to last week is in the archive, downloadable in MP3 format. So if you want to know, if you want to link to where that is, I don't know, tigerclawtv.com. Head over to tigerclawtv.com. That's my old blog. I don't really use it a whole lot anymore, but there is a link there on the right somewhere that'll take you to the archive. And there you go. You can check out the archive. You can get the whole list of everything you want. You know? I stopped messing around with Podomatic for a while, and not because I really had any problem with Podomatic. It's just because I didn't think it was bringing anything to the table. I didn't really mind that the episodes were didn't stay on there. Like I could only put 3 or 4 on at any given time. My problem was if you wanted to download a podcast from Podomatic.com, the bit rate to download an MP3 was awful. You'd have to wait like 15 minutes to download a podcast. It's not going to happen. People aren't going to do that anymore. So I don't know. I know there's better services now. I haven't really taken the time, and I should, because that's the business side of running one of these things, and I really got to put more into that. So I don't know. We'll see what it is. What we can get done. For that, with all that out of the way, let's go back to the old jukebox. This isn't from a real game. This is just from my chiptune collection. Some stuff I picked up. Let's all relax, listen together. We'll compare notes on who made what when we come back. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. All right, real quick before I dump this track in. This is a little different from the type of chiptunes I normally play. I guess, I don't know, maybe it isn't at all. It's really chilled out. It's super chilled out. Like I usually like at least a little bit of a beat if I can, whether it be upbeat or not. But this one is probably one of the mellowest songs I've been able to enjoy in a long time. And I just decided to put it in there because I feel like a good part of this should be, if I'm not vibing to it, then it has no place being on the show. But this one, I don't know what it is. It's just, this is one of those things where the more I describe the song, the more it sounds like elements that I wouldn't like. But for whatever reason, in this track, it works. This is from K2. The track is called Starboarding. And it's from a compilation called, what is it, Mr. G? Hang on a second, what do we have here? I'm sorry, no, not at all. Haley Labs, Every Days, number 2, February. All right, Starboarding from K2. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Let's try it again. So what do you think? Is it too mellow? I don't know. Maybe it's not varied enough. It's only a couple minutes long, right? Usually when songs get that mellow, they tend to drag on, right? Then it becomes that whole ambient thing. It's like, this is ambient, man. All the tracks have to be 12 minutes long, minimum. What are you going to do? I like that one. I think it strikes a good balance. Tell me what you think. Maybe I'm wrong. And with that, I want to take just a minute to thank the sponsors. Patreon sponsored program, ladies and gentlemen. These guys, they're giving of their resources to make sure TCR can come back every single week. Putting in the extra time to make sure we can have the party. So to them, I offer early access to the show, early as soon as I can make it, because last week I was still on the air Monday morning. I wrapped the show Monday morning and got it up that day. By the way, big thanks to everybody who's subscribed over on YouTube. I'm seeing that number grow very, very slowly for the first time in many, many years. And I gotta say, it feels really good. I had a decent amount of YouTube success in 2010. I was very lucky to get in with Retroware TV, even just as a little B card player. I didn't actually ever make it onto their lineup, but I shot up to about probably 1,700 subs very, very quickly. And then when I got dropped off that site, it never grew again. It never grew again, and it's been 10 years. I've actually lost a couple hundred subs just because, over time, accounts close, people unsubscribe. What are you going to do? But now it's been growing for the past couple of months, and it feels really good. So big warm hugs to everybody who's coming and hanging out. I hope you're having a good time, because ow, mother of all that's holy goodness. Trying not to use bad words. As I was saying before I smashed my hand against my desk, it's all about good vibes. Oh, good vibes. Ugh. Oh, yes, good vibes. That hurts so bad. Oh my gosh. It hurts so bad. What was I talking about? Yes, the sponsors. Given the resources. Their names are Hemrock, Sendu, Tecmo Balls, Dorabka, Konstantin Kelman, Eric Controller. Each and every one of you 6 gentlemen, thank you so much. Much appreciated. I hope you're enjoying yourselves and having a good time, because I know I am. It's been a good evening. It's been a good week, really. I got to play some video games, got to hang out with my family, got my work done. It's been A-okay, man. Still playing my dad games. Still playing my pachinkos. Playing my slot machine games. Whoop, 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 whoop. Here's one for you. You guys remember those PS1 games that I mentioned every single week for the past several months? Bought them off of eBay. Bought a bunch of PS1 games super cheap. They were getting pennied out back in March. What I was doing was searching PS1 on eBay. Then I would search from cheapest. And then the app will automatically hide listings that it thinks are irrelevant, and then you press a button at the top, and then it'll show them. And what I discovered was that Japanese games were getting pennied out in the auctions, and by that I mean they would put them for auction at next to nothing, and whatever they sold for. Now, at the beginning, when I first realized this, I let a lot of games go because I was lowballing too hard, right? I had chances to get, all the Final Fantasy games went regularly. But I started watching it every day. Let's just search PS1. We'll sort by cheapest and see if there's anything new up. I won a lot of auctions, and a lot of them, and the vast majority of them just never showed up, right? I sent questions asking for, hey, can you give me a status update? And they just sent refunds. And I was bummed about it. And sure enough, I think it was just this past Friday. No, it couldn't have been this past Friday. I don't know. It's like a couple days ago. I got the package, and it was like probably a third of the games that I ordered all showed up. Hang on a second. Let me get the stack here. Because I've got them mixed in now with the games that I had. Ugh. But of all the games that I ordered, this is everything I ended up with. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is my entire import collection of PS1 games. What is this? This is Pachinko, some Pachinko game that I had already. Paradise Island 2, Pachinko, I had that already. FIFA World Cup 98, so I got some soccer. Gran Turismo, I think I went over that last week. I've had this for a couple weeks. I've got Super Light 1500 Pachi Pachi, the slot machine game. I can't wait to make a video about these Super Light 1500 games. They make these games that are like it's almost like the Japanese version of Greatest Hits, but they're super stripped down. They're literally just pure white, almost like a piece of paper, front and back, and then some writing on it, and then a little black and white picture showing what it is. And then there's like a super light Tetris and a super light chess, and all these dad games, in the super light series. Very strange. We don't have anything quite like it in the States, at least not on a console like that. So I got the super light slot machine game. What is this? Slaughter Mania, another slot machine game. Now here's where it gets good. Ace Combat and Ace Combat 2. Now I haven't played these yet, but gotta say, they look gorgeous. Chocobo Racing. This one doesn't come with an instruction manual. Dragon Quest 4 for the PS1. Now, I don't know an awful lot about the Dragon Quest series, but this looks. I know the first one. It's like world famous NES game, right? Come on, Dragon Warrior 1 through 4, highly sought after games here in the United States. Wait a second, is this thing actually running? Yeah, it is. Good. They must have remade it for the PS1 at some point. And I got this thing for super cheap because Japanese RPG, how much can you really play it? But when I got it, I was like, this is what I'm going to play. I'm playing Dragon Quest 4. I'm playing the PS1 game. I don't care if I can't read anything. I'm going to play it. And I talked to people. I wandered around town. I did several cutscenes. And I made it outside the town, and I started fighting. And I got to say, gorgeous game. Gorgeous game. I have to look to see, because I think Hemrock told me that some of these games have patches where you could dump the ROM, play the apply an English patch, and actually play them in English. And this game, if I could play the PS1 version of Dragon Quest 4, then I would be a happy boy. My favorite in the bunch is the original Ridge Racer for PS1, Japanese version, because this game I want to do a quick, gameplay of, because this is an English game. This is a fully playable game with all the pertinent information in English. There's some Japanese, like the names of the courses I think are in Japanese, and that's it. Everything else is in English, even the voice samples. But I've been loving playing Ridge Racer. I've been loving playing Dragon Quest 4, and I've been fairly enjoying playing my slot machine games, which I usually just play when I'm more interested in listening to music, because I like indie rock and cassette tapes. So sometimes, a couple of times in the past week, I would put on a cassette tape and then just play my slot machine game. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? All right, where are we at? 33 minutes in? I think it's time for the fail bag. What do you guys think? I'm going to get some water. I'm going to fill my cup, and then we're going to do the fail bag. Stick with me. Listen, I know that was an instant break here, if you're listening, but it's quite a bit for me. We're running late now. It's 10:30, and I gotta get this done tonight. So let's shift gears. We're going to go over to the fail bag. I read some of the comments from last week's episode. I did open this earlier, but you got to give me a second to get up to speed here. Where it at now? Where it at? There it go. Nothing's doing what I want it to do. Let's actually stop this again. There we go. All right, we're backing up by about a week. Sendu from Light Studios, my brother. He's been going through some old episodes and leaving comments on ones from like a year ago. Not a year ago. Come on now. Episode 314. What are we on now? This is 341, I think we're on. That's like 6 months ago. Not too bad. We had an exchange this past week where on that episode I said, I don't have a friend who plays Atari. And he goes, what am I then? And I mentioned that I forgot he had an Atari. Old Sendu managed to get a hold of a 7800. A lot of what I know about the 7800 came from two places. One from Jerry Terrifying, And the other is from Sendu, because he got one and he told me a lot of about his experience when he got it. Super cool. So I asked him about it. Excuse me. In particular, I was like, hey, any favorites? And he said, my favorite games are the paddle games. I just need a working paddle. Also, Pitfall 2, just for as impressive as it is, I did attempt to fire it up not too long ago, but the stupid thing needs to be cleaned. Yeah, you know what? I really like the paddle games for the 2600. I don't have a working paddle either, but I have a stack of paddle games, and I've been able to play with paddles before in the past. Particularly when I go to MagFest, they usually have a paddle set up, and I play with one every year that I go, and I always really enjoy it. And I always tell myself when I'm down there that I'm going to buy a paddle, and I never do. It's ridiculous. I should just pony up and get a paddle, because clearly I do enjoy it. And like I said, I've got 5 or 6 different paddle games already ready to go. I think it's time to make the investment. I don't know. But again, I've been saying that for years, so who knows. Let's see. He also writes, instead of on the desk, you could do on the desktop and talk about what game you're secretly playing while recording. Lol. I'm not playing a game right now, but that is hilarious. Desm101 on last week says Half Awake CF was relaxing, like ASMR Tiger Claw Radio. Good choice on the music. Love that 70s funk. I was thinking it was from the Driver series at first, but I do remember seeing ads for that game Interstate 76 in magazines at the time. Yeah, that's a weird one. I'd like to know more about what was going on at the time Interstate 76 came out, because I looked up the copyright date. Excuse me, and it didn't make sense at all. Like that came out after Vigilante 8. I don't know, but yeah, it's cool. It's a pretty cool game that sounds amazing. I hope you're doing good, brother. I hope everything's going well. I get a kick out of seeing your stuff on Twitter. So, Mecha Menace writes, all this Interstate 76 music reminds me of the Cowboy Bebop tracks I was listening to last week. I await the reveal, but I'm pretty confident you will say I-76. 28 minutes. He says, boom, what a period of time that was. 1997 to 2000 was pretty hot in the gaming world, PC-wise. Remember No One Lives Forever, Half-Life, and all its spin-offs? Grenade Toss. Oh, CF, did you ever play that strategy game with the large floating islands, Stratosphere? No, I've not heard of that one, but I love that era in gaming, so I'm going to look it up right now. Large floating islands. Stratosphere. Alright, we're going to head over to good old DuckDuckGo. Stick with me here. Oh yeah, Stratosphere, PC game. Alright. Stratosphere, Conquest of the Skies. Let's see, what kind of game is this? I've never seen this before. It looks cool though. There's abandonware links apparently. Kodiak Interactive from 1998. It's a vehicular combat game and also a real strategy PC game developed by Kodiak Interactive and published by Ripcord Games in 1998. This is from the Wikipedia. It focuses on floating battle islands. That float because they're built from float stones, which can be collected from mountainsides. Cool looking game. Yeah. Super neat, man. A time when companies could be were being creative and risks were being taken and things were being tried and real innovation was happening. It was amazing. Some amazing stuff came out right around that time. I usually think of 1996 as the golden year for video games because we got Tomb Raider and Nintendo 64 and all that stuff. A lot of big name titles came out 1996 for the first time. Yeah, the years that followed as well. My goodness. Oh my gosh. Give me a second. I navigated away from the comments. There it is. Yep. Mecha Menace, brother. Hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Alex Swingo writes, he leaves a timestamp of 58 minutes. The key distinction is the random events that tend to mess you over. Age of Wonders doesn't have random events as well as Lords of Magic. Even then, I mentioned that Lords of Magic was okay, not great. I prefer Age of Wonders 2 because they have a tech tree to enable some customization. The first one was very limited, and players would often reach max unit level too early. It rewarded map memorization a little too much. Yeah, I would agree with that in a big way. One of my favorite memories of Heroes of Might and Magic was Durabka playing a scenario for over 40 minutes just to get hosed by 5 negative events in a row, killing the scenario. The amount of salt produced could supply a grocery store. Much love. Yeah, I wasn't very successful in Heroes of Might and Magic. I will say that Durabka is partial to the first Heroes of Might and Magic game, and the little bit I do know is that amongst the first 3 games, that was a game that got better with time. I don't remember a lot of specifics, but I played the first one, and I've played the third one, and the third one improves on it greatly. I don't know if the random events are still a thing. I seem to remember if you're scrimming, then you can choose whether you want them on or off. And whenever I would play Heroes of Might and Magic 3, I never really cared about the story. I would only scrim with my buddy, so we would have full control over that kind of stuff, which is probably why I don't really remember it that way, because we would just turn them off. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? That sucks, man. Nothing like random events. It's like a roguelike strategy game. You need that. It's like a roguelike. Alex, my brother, bearer of the same name. I hope you're doing well, man. Light Studios again. This backlog is kind of painful. I really did miss a once-in-a-lifetime event with MagFest 2020. And I mentioned this. When I read this, I sent him a comment in text right away. But not at all, man. Not once. We missed you. You definitely did miss that. That's true. But I would not think of it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We're all going to get together again. It's harder for Sean. Because he's got to pay an arm and a leg to make it happen. But we're definitely going to do it again. I got to send this to you. I want to send you an email because I know you're listening to these shows. Like, he left this comment on episode 316, so you're like, I don't know, 20 episodes behind or something. But I want you to be on board with this Tiger Fest idea. Because the whole concept of us just getting together, at some cheap hotel room, and where we all bring some gaming gear. It doesn't have to be a fancy place, just maybe like one of those places just off of I-95. I think the Pennsylvania Turnpike might have similar places. I don't really know that area very well, but we used to every year take I-95 from Maryland all the way down to Florida, and all along I-95 there's these little towns where you pull off the highway, and there's always a Cracker Barrel and a Waffle House right next to each other. Cracker Barrel and Waffle House, 2 stores, 2 restaurants that I got introduced to via I-95. And then there would be a Cracker Barrel and a Waffle House, and then there would also be like a Sleep Inn or maybe a Hampton or something like that of that nature. Which we just pick a place. We'll have to get on Discord some night. You, me, and maybe Hemrock, and we'll have to figure out where in the United States the 3 of us are, and then triangulate our position to pick the most central Waffle House and Sleep In combo. And then get together and play some games. That's why I don't call this a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We're definitely gonna get together again. We've known each other too many years, man. It's been too many years. It's been too many years, and we're all old enough to understand that it's really the people that are making this magic. You know what I mean? Games are great. Games are fun. That's fine. But it's think back. It really is the people, isn't it? That makes all this come alive. And that's why we definitely have to do it again. So don't despair, my friend. Don't despair. I actually got a comment at 1 hour ago on my auto mount and DOSBox video. I wonder how many years ago I put that up. This guy says very, very helpful. Thanks. It's really cool. It makes me feel good that people still watch that. Sendu, my brother. Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing good. Hope you're being safe. We're going to hang out, man. Don't worry about it. We'll make it happen somehow. How we doing? That's the end of my fail bag. We're like 46 minutes in. It's a little bit early. I usually like to go an hour if I can, but I really want to make sure this episode gets done on a Friday night because I felt bad about waiting until Monday morning to finish the last week's episode. Thank you so much for everybody who comes in and hangs out and listens to these little shows. Listens to the chip tunes, and a big thanks to you guys who send in comments and stuff. I love that. I've never got the opportunity. I've never been one of those channels that's like, oh, I have too many comments to read them all. No, not at all. Every single word gets read, even the spam comments. So big thanks. And to those of you guys out there who are listening to this, I hope your lives are going well. I hope you're keeping your spirits up because that is so important. So important to try and keep your head up and don't despair. All right, that's the point of all this. Is to try and keep hope alive. There's fun to be had. There's good times. There's plenty of good times left in your life. Even if you're listening to this and you're 90 years old, there are good times ahead. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.